Okay guys, I know this is really weird, but I'm in the office part of my room where I do the editing, and I just got back from the mailbox, so I thought I would go ahead. I have 3 packages here. I have no idea what they are, but they are to me. So this one is from Mountain Grove, Missouri. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. What could it be? I'm kind of hoping that it's fabric, you know, that I ordered fabric, and yeah. This, however, is this awesome. Yay! Oh, how will I do this? There we go. So this is actually the back of the pattern. I've never seen one with designs on front and back. McCall's Crafts American Tradition. And this table runner is the one that I'm interested in, and the one that I ordered Autumn Haze and Autumn Spice for. So we'll see. Awesome. Okay, so there's that package. Now let's see what this one is. This one is from Siloam Springs, Arizona. It kind of feels like fabric. Okay, this says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to give you a future and a hope." Jeremiah 29:11. And then there is JubileeFabric.com, exclusive homespun fabric, tobacco cloth, kits, rag style patterns, tutorials, primitive decor, and more. Okay. So this one is, I think this was Autumn Haze. This is Autumn Spice, okay. This is the first charm pack. Oh, it feels lovely. And look at these adorable, look at this. So Christmassy, so spicy. I don't know if the colors are showing up like they truly really are. Oh, that. It is looking way lighter in there than it actually is. Wow. So I'll try to adjust in my actual sewing room. I'll try to adjust the colors. Yeah, that looks like yellow in there, and it's kind of a nutmeg, really. And they're just perfect. Okay, so this is Autumn Spice. You're gonna see, you can only guess what the next one is. I put this one back in its little bag. Okay. I don't know though. Orange Park, Florida. This is 40, and this is, if this is what it is supposed to be, it's also supposed to be 40, but there just doesn't appear to be a heft. So it could be the type of fabric too, or it could be something completely different because it's from Florida. I don't know. Who knows? Bag. It says, "Thank you for your purchase. We look forward to meeting all of your quilting and crafting needs. Check back for new items and sales." And I don't see any paperwork, but I will open up this little zip this is definitely Autumn Haze. How strange that these colors are so off. I mean, I can see this is like very dark, extremely dark in real life, and in there it's not. This is dark red, and look at that, it's like orange. Okay. Alright, I think I really do think I like it. I like it a lot. This is so cute. And I feel like the two Autumn Haze and Autumn Spice, I feel like they really do look perfect together. Okay. And then the second thing I wanted to do before I upload this video is look to see what this pattern. There's a whole bunch of directions. They're very, very, very detailed. I mean, right out the gate you got the log cabin, wall hanging, and then it tells you exactly how many pieces you're going to have for seat cushions, wall hanging, placemats, table runner, apron. And there's that. I'm not a quilter, but okay, so here's the table runner. And I'm really, really hoping that my the fabrics I purchase will work. I think if I cut them in half, I think that's what I figured out. Yeah. So anyway, I can't get into this. I would love to get into this, but I cannot get into this right now. And look at that adorable apron. That is just so cute. So it says here, package includes the following items: wall hanging, placemat, table runner, apron, and seat cushions. I don't think those items are in here. I think the patterns for those items are in here. This was printed in 1995. Alright, so I'm going to grab those instructions, look at that once more. And naturally, the HOA has decided that today is the day to do the yard work. I'll try to mute that out if I possibly can. Alright, so to kind of remind me and everyone where we are, we're going to, with our right sides together, so we have, this is the right side of our top, and the right sides of the facing are together. We're going to pin the facing to the front and the neck edge. We're going to baste, and then this is right here. And then we're going to clip the neck edge through all of those thicknesses at that small dot. If you recall the yellow dot that was still on the back of the plaid collar piece. Then we're going to stitch the front edge and the neck as basted, being careful not to catch in the free edge of the collar. And then we're going to trim the seam in the corners and clip the curves. So it's right here and then all the way down the front, but not across the bottom, and of course not across here, just here. And then go from there. Okay, I want to point out that I'm using a very big basting stitch. I don't know if you can see this, but here's a couple stitches for you. And I'm just trying to make sure everything is smooth before it hits the needle area. All right. So now we have to remember we have to clip that curve. So I feel like if it were up to me, the directions would state just clip through all thicknesses in the areas that you have stitched or clipped previously. And that's what I'm going to do. Try not to, you know, clip through any stitching, especially your basting, because that's what's holding that, holding the facing to this area right here. Okay, now this we want to trim. I've got my original stitching is here, but I can just trim that down because there's my basting. And I want to make sure that everything is caught, and then I'll go back and see my collar isn't caught. So I need to go back, and I can feel it right here. So I need to kind of drift my stitching down just a bit there. Okay, and as the pattern maker, I think I would have drawn some guidelines on the pattern piece. That is starting to look collarish-y to me. I'm going to go ahead while I can. I need to stitch, and then I'm going to pull some of these basting stitches that are starting to kind of appear on the clothing. Okay, so this little top edge of the facing, I'm going to press that under like so. So it's got a little finished edge there. I am going to clip this all the way down. It doesn't need that much fabric in that seam. I want it to lay flat. Make sure that nothing is in the way as I'm doing this. I don't want to be cutting my, you know, my jacket. All right, I'm going to go press. Get this all nice and neat and pretty and see what we got going on. And again, I'm going to use the ham to kind of press this seam. I want the inside to roll toward the jacket, which it naturally wants to do, or top, as the case may be. And then I'm going to fold it back like this onto itself. And we will see what that does for us. Okay, I'll be right back. Here is that finished facing. Back up a little bit. This is what that looks like. Here's the collar edge. The iron spit on my collar. It's just water, thank God. Okay. So what I'm planning to do is I'm going to wait until the other facing is completed, like this one, and then I will see what I need to do. I feel like this is heavy enough that it's really not going to pull to the outside, but without being tacked with buttonholes or buttons, that often can be a problem. So we're back. Now I have put both front facings on. So this one, which is the right side, is on, and this one, which is the left side, is on. They are stitched as I would want them to be stitched, and I believe that the next step in this process is a little bit of fiddly stuff. Okay? One of those fiddly things is going to be to push this clipped edge right here. Let me zoom in. So this is the collar, obviously. And this is that edge that we clipped, and then this is the part that we left open. And we're supposed to fold this down on top of that. I would give, in my case, I'm going to press it. I'm going to give it a nice, good press to get that to stay in there. Turn facing to the inside, turning back neck seam toward the collar. Press, well, yeah, that's these two things. Press. Stitch pressed edge of collar over the neck seam. To keep the facing in place, tack the facing to the shoulder seam allowances by hand or with a small piece of fusible web. Okay, so I had a lunch break and then my daughter and her husband stopped by. So now I'm back at it. And I wanted to remind everybody I have a safety pin on this sleeve piece. So that is how I know that I am putting right side of sleeve to right side of jacket. What we're doing is we're putting the chalk mark in the top center of the sleeve, right on top of the shoulder seam. And we're going to clip that or pin it, however you prefer to do. Okay. And then there will be a chalk mark, and we will line it up with the chalk mark on the jacket arm side, and again clip it or pin it. And there's a notch here in the sleeve piece and a notch here in the arm side, so we match up those. Okay, and then of course we will clip it or pin it. And then the dot on the sleeve and the dot on the arm side at the underarm will match up. And again, clip it or pin it. And then we'll go across and do the other side. Start right here at this edge, and we're going to go all the way around. And then, because I'm sewing on a conventional domestic sewing machine, I'm going to do it again. And the instructions actually say that. For conventional machine, stitch again 1/8 of an inch from first stitching. So this is the shoulder, right here, this is the sleeve. So there's the sleeve seam, across that top edge. But I do have one trick up my sleeve, and that is, if it's just too big for me to wear, I'm going to wash it. So I finished attaching the second sleeve. I'm going to take the safety pin that marks the front or right side of that fabric out. And I'm going to press, I need to press these shoulders where the sleeves are. I need to press this whole area right here on the ham. And when I come back, the decision is that the directions say to stitch up the side seam and then around under the sleeve seam, and that's what we're going to do next. Alright, so the shoulder area where the sleeves were attached has been pressed, and now we just simply turn our jacket right side in or wrong side out, however you prefer to say it, and we match up under the arm here. This is the side seam, and I'm still on the fence about whether or not to put a belt loop in. I'm almost thinking no, because I would have to unpick and remove it if I chose in the end that I didn't want a belt loop. So I think, yeah, I think I'm just going to say no belt loops, and then when I create the belt, if I really want belt loops, I can unpick the side seam and put a belt loop on. So for that reason, I may not completely finish the edge with the type of sewing that we did for our shoulders. That would kind of be a problem if I wanted to go back. I'd have to undo a lot of stitching. Okay, so the next thing to think about is these notches right here. So the front notch and the back notch need to meet. So I'm going to go ahead and get those met up and put a clip here, like so, and then see how everything else is lining up. Okay, so under the arm, or yeah, under the sleeve is good. I'm going to put a clip on either side of this seam right here. My sleeve itself has matched all the way down, and the side of the jacket has matched all the way down. Okay, I do want to trim some of these wild fabric hairs here. Okay, now the thing I want to think about is this sleeve seam right here. I feel very strongly that I want that to be finished. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to go ahead and stitch all the way around the sleeve seam. So that would be all the way around, like so, just like we did with this one here. I'm going to do both sides, and then when I return, we're going to finish up this side seam, and we're going to put the cuff on. So I will see you back here in just a minute. And before I forget, you're supposed to press your sleeve seam toward the sleeve. So with that information, as it is stated in the instructions, they want the little seam allowance right here that's closest to the sleeve is the piece that we would trim, and then the one that is not closest to the sleeve is the one that will fold over and cover up our clipped seam allowance. Alright guys, so I sewed one of the sleeve cap, what do you call this? I mean, the area, oops, I missed a spot right there, which is fine because I can either go back and catch it later. I was really in a hurry. I've had a couple interruptions today, which is fine. I don't mind interruptions, but I wanted to show you how to do the sleeve at least at the end of the video. So considering how late it is in the day, I'm just going to go ahead and just do the one. Alright, so I am holding my sleeve with the right sides together, wrong sides out. So I'm looking at the inside of the jacket, like so. And we're going to line up all of our raw edges. There are notches that have been cut, like right here. And we have the shoulder, excuse me, the underarm seam that we can match up. And then we have another notch right here that we can match. And then we're just going to go all the way down to the end. Now, to finish this jacket the way that the pattern says, we are supposed to stop at the large dot, which is right here on this pattern. And I'm not sure that my dots have survived all of the trips to the ironing board and the backs and the fork. Okay, yes they have. They're still there. Okay, so that is, I'm gonna put a, how about a green clip right there where those dots are. Okay, they are right here. So that's it right there. Okay, so the way we finish off this sleeve is we pin the front to the back at the entire underarm seam, matching armhole seams and large dots. I can talk. Stitch the seam from the large dot to the edge of the sleeve. So that would be down here at the very bottom, where I put that green clip, right there. And then going to go all the way up down to the edge of the seam. Back stitch at the large dot to reinforce. Okay. Yep. Alright, so that's what we're doing now. Fabric called the cuff that will be going on. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. At this point, I will turn this sleeve to the outside and back up a little bit so you guys can see what I'm looking at. So, this is the collar up here. This is the sleeve. This is the end of the sleeve. And this is the side seam that has a few stray threads. So I'm going to go press, and everything is lined up. There's the underarm seam. So I'll take care of the pressing roll. Okay, so I just tried it on, and it's huge. But I already knew that it was going to be rather large. Now I will tell you that the back, I love the swing, I love the motion in the back. So I know that when I hem it, that's going to stay. The issue I'm having at the moment is the upper chest area and the sleeve. The sleeve is already too long, but I'm going to go ahead and continue. So anyway, I am getting very excited about this whole process. Okay, so this is the sleeve band, and this is the right side of the sleeve band. So our instructions are with right sides together, and we're going to fold this over and stitch. There's the double notch right there that they're referring to, and we're going to stitch that together, and then we're going to fold it in half the other way with wrong sides together. going to slip this band over the end of this sleeve, and then we're going to take these, all three of these seams, and match them up. So here's the jacket sleeve and the cuff, and we're going to match those together. Okay. Just want to see what that looks like. I think that's quite pretty. So there's the sleeve seam, and there's the seam of the cuff. Looks kind of nice. I like that. Alright, I'm going to go press. I'll be right back. Okay, so there's the jacket thus far. It is not finished yet, but we have our collar stitched and lined. The facings are on. The only thing I have to do is stitch this little tab part here, and I am glad I waited and did not stitch those prior to putting in the sleeves. The sleeves are very heavy in this fabric, and if I had stitched those down, I can see where there would have been some pulling. The entire jacket it's a heavy. It's what I wanted. I mean, it is a jacket after all. It's not a pajama top. It is a jacket. So it's very heavy. It will be, it looks quite shapeless due to the fact that it is enormous. I think you can tell. I mean, look at the sleeve, arm, look how massive that arm side is, and the underarm seam. So I'm not really sure yet. I think maybe a little bit of shrinking might help it, and then after I've done that, I will try to do some tightening up a little bit if I need to. I mean, it's going to have a belt, so you know, I don't know, and it will be worn over multiple layers. So is it something that I'm going to need to worry about? I don't know. I'll say I've never had a jacket that large before, but there's a first time for everything. It looks like, you know, it'd be comfortable outside around the fire pit on a cold evening. It's more like a poncho, but I mean, at the same time, it has a lot of elements that I like. The sleeves are going to fall past my hands, so I mean, literally they will completely cover up my entire hand. So my thoughts on that are, I'm going to roll that cuff back, or I'm going to take the entire cuff off, cut the sleeve shorter, and then try to come up with a way to make the cuff fit. But I don't know yet, because it is going to fall all the way down past my fingertips, which would be irritating. So, but we'll discuss that as we go. And that's part of the process when you're taking something that is meant to be one thing and switching it into something else. And while it's huge, I'm gonna say I am quite pleased. So far, I don't mind that there are some tweaks I'm gonna have to make. I do, however, have other projects that have kind of taken a back seat, and I need to get them done. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will try to get part 3 up and probably start on a secondary project, because the sleeve isn't going to take that much time. I will probably show you midway through whatever the secondary project is what the jacket looks like when it comes out of the dryer. So that may make an appearance in tomorrow's video. So if you're new here, thank you so much for joining us. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for subscribing. If you liked this video, please click the like button. It really, really helps my little growing channel. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.